Very warm welcome to my good mate Joe Vagana from the Richmond Club here in Auckland. Welcome, Joe. I suppose the best place to start is tell us about Richmond, mate. What a wonderful club.
Yeah, I guess like you said, that's where it all started. As an 8-year-old boy who lived 2 streets up from the grounds. I'm the youngest of 8, and my brothers actually played down there. So I was getting a bit round in the stomach, and so my dad said to get going with my brothers and followed him down to the league park. So that's how it all started. The round part in my tummy didn't help much. I kept that for most of my life, but it was great times back then.
So did you play with the brothers at all?
No, they're a lot older. So I'm the youngest. So there's a 10 to 15 year gap.
Yeah, okay.
So never got the chance to play with him, although they keep rubbing it in that in the club they have their photos of their under 16 team which went unbeaten. My dad was the manager, and their photos on the wall, and there's no photos of me in there, so they kept rubbing that in.
What about when you started? You're going back there when you were 8 years of age, and you went down there. Do you remember, your coach from then, or
Terry McGowan. Terry McGowan.
Terry McGowan. Yeah.
One of my favourite coaches, if not my favourite coach. He was a group of friends. Nigel lived across. I lived on one side of the park.
Yep.
Nigel lived across on the other side of the park. We had a cousin lived just down the other end of the park. We had friends who all lived in the area. We grew up. That was our area. So that was our playground, I guess. And Terry McGowan, I was saying, was he was a white fella who'd come down, brought his skinny son down, and he was just awesome for us. He was a coach, friend, mentor to a lot of us kids, and even the kids who were. I was fortunate to had a supportive family, but there were some kids that didn't have that luxury or didn't have that blessing of a stable home. And so he went out of his way to get boots, socks, picked him up, drove him to games, all that sort of stuff, fed us all.
Yeah.
So those things that went unnoticed as a kid, and when you look back at it now, one of my cherished memories was going back to his 60th, attending his 60th a few years back, and being able to share with his family and friends what now they were a bit older, and I was able to give him one of my Kiwi jerseys.
Oh, so, fantastic.
Yeah.
Tough club, Richmond. It's always had a tough reputation, some wonderful players, Fox champions on numerous occasions, but a great club.
Yes, great club. Like I said, it was a lot of family-based. A lot of us guys grew up in the same church around there, same schools. There was older siblings who had all gone there who were friends with my siblings. So it was a close-knit family, very hard club. That was home. So
some of those players that were playing premiers when you started, do you remember, having any heroes there that played for Richmond? Your Fred Arcoys.
Yep, there was the Fred Arcoys, the obvious ones, but the guys that was just maybe 10 years older who was making their mark was Solomona.
Yes.
With the Solomona family. Koi family, and there was a guy, George Thompson. He never made it international, but I used to watch him as a young fella, and he used to kick around the corner, and it was a mess. So it was little things like that. These guys that as a young kid growing up at the local club, they were our idols, and it was our goals back then was I want to play the Prems for the Prems.
Yeah.
I guess over time things have changed with professional sport.
Yeah.
But,
which is a shame. St Paul's College, absolute breeding ground for Kiwis, and you had the privilege of attending St Paul's College.
Yeah, it was a quite highly academic school too.
Oh, was it?
Not just a rugby league school.
I knew you got your education from
first
somewhere.
You had to get in there. You had to have high standards on your grades to get in that school. But yes, it's over the years. It's produced a lot of great league
Mark
players.
Graham,
The best, the greatest, I guess. Fact.
Yeah.
And I hear it to many, including myself. So it's got a great history, St. Paul's College. And it wasn't any different when I was there. I think the years I was in there, there was the likes of Stacey, Nigel, Dave Solomona, just to name a couple off the top of my head. But there was plenty more that had come through, whether they played the black jersey or played NRL.
1992, Junior Kiwis. Was that sort of the turning point for you when you thought, crikey, I think I might be able to make a living out of playing this game?
No, I guess, no, not really. I mean, 92, I mean, I still, it was sort of like it was yesterday, being, it was just still a part of my rugby league journey. But professional sport wasn't really, well, for me, that was way over there for me right then. I mean, I was always watching the Winfield Cup, but never thought of actually having a team in New Zealand and then actually being part of the NRL. So, but
well, tell me about that. 1995, of course, you make your debut in round 2 for the Warriors. How was that?
I guess 95 was that first year of playing, but I think 93 and 94, we were actually signed. People were getting signed. I remember the day that my dad walked me to Carlo Park and I signed for a big $2,000, and then and my dad, it was either John Ackland or Laurie Stubbings, and my dad said, "Take my son, he's yours." After we signed the check, and it was a proud moment, but yeah, it was just like yesterday, signing at Carlo Park, the home of rugby league back then. It was just a massive moment, and leading up to 95, the kick-off March 10th, there was a whole year of, we were travelling up and down the country. There was a group of us our age who were the juniors, who were development grades and teams, and travelling Australia every now. So there was a whole build-up coming up to it, but I guess that March 10th was when it just boom, and I keep telling people back then, it really did feel like in that 95 season that as a country, rugby league was on par with rugby. With that sort of status, we're like walking superstars, and that was just being affiliated with the club. I mean, I hadn't played a first grade game before that first game, so but it was such an awesome moment, time.
Tell me about your first game. What do you remember about that?
I can't remember much, to be honest. It was such, it was always, was it home? Can't remember. But I know it was such a proud moment just to be part of the club. I think it was 35,000 we were filling up. To start, there was almost a show before the game. The laser lights. It was the figure, 100,000 per match of entertainment. But man, when you experience it for the first time, it was just a wow. But in that first year was just, I guess, all the work, all my parents driving me battens up, raffle tickets, fundraising so I can get boots, so I can get to Australia, get to this trip, tournament. I guess it was just this is to honour back to my family, my mum and dad, for the sacrifices that are able to represent our family name at this massive stage.
115 games for the Warriors. Players in that time, coaches in that time that stand out for you?
I guess, the first coach was John Money, and he was, I guess, the first non-Kiwi coach that I had, and it was a professional level, so a different sort of eyes and how he different methods he had. He was a bit of a technical guy. If I said it, if he was I wouldn't say he was a people person or players coach compared with the likes of a Frank. He was always
chalk and cheese.
Yeah. So but yeah, like I mentioned earlier, Mark Graham, signed for the Warriors. Yes. My hero growing up as a young kid in New Zealand, heard all the stories how he played with one shoulder and, you know, getting back out in the test match, all these stories that I heard, and then for him to sign and be a coach in the team that I was in, it was just, you know, it was just an awe for me. I was just meeting my superhero, and I was sharing with you how my first goal was to try and get an autograph of him, you know, just so I could keep it, and I was quite nervous about that, you know. So yeah, but we've had some good, you know, colourful coaches. Yeah, I've been blessed with many good coaches.
Huge year for you in '95 because you played for Samoa in the World Cup in '95 as well. So
Yeah,
a huge moment for honour for you and your family.
yep, huge moment, and it come off the back of a broken arm. '95, Jim Sedaris' head. So I'd missed, I think, 10 weeks, and then I think it was 3 weeks cleared, and then into the World Cup.
Yeah.
So
Year later, '96, Kiwis come calling.
yeah, and it's you know, I'm a very proud New Zealand-born Samoan, and you know, it was a proud moment to put on the blue jersey of Samoa, play with legends of John Schuster,
Yes.
Inga Tuingamala,
Yes.
and just, you know, two of the big guys, big names in world sport back then, and just being able to represent our heritage, and then again, even just as big a honour to get caught up by the Kiwis. You know, I was born in New Zealand. My heroes were the Filipinas, the Mark Grahams, Tamatis. Those are the guys who paved the way and made this small kid, this young kid in Greyland, you know, wanted to be a Kiwi or wanted to play rugby league. Yeah. So
10 years with the Kiwis, 25 tests, some wonderful occasions. Tell me about the first time you put on that black and white jersey.
Well, I guess it was like a lot of guys, you get the phone call, and it was like, you know, whether someone's playing a prank on you. Bit surreal, but you know, when you're walking into get told to meet at the hotel, it was 96, so we were playing Great Britain and the Kumus.
Yes.
That was a test, 1996. You were part of the team there. You were with.
I won't tell you.
Yeah. But I guess for me, the moment I still remember was actually walking into the room, my hotel room, and my roommate was Quinton Pongia. And I had known Quinton, played against him, but you know, he was a big star.
Yeah.
He was the hard man of Canberra, of the Winfield Cup at that stage.
West Coaster.
Yeah, West Coaster, dark black toenails. He's a good walk to school. But and to walk into the room as a young fella and be a roomie to an experienced, hard-nosed prop, it was just like pretty daunting actually. But you know, we settled him pretty well. He made me feel comfortable. I knew he was boss straight away, so took my place. Took the single bed. Took my single bed, yeah.
2005, you win the Tri-Nations special occasion with Bluey McLennan.
Well, I wasn't there.
You weren't there?
I was there. I was watching, but 2005. No, I didn't. I didn't actually play in that series. I had finished quite a lot earlier. Which, you know, I went to England in 2001, and I, you know, like before I'd gone to an English club, and I'd been in New Zealand teams for a few years, and I actually thought I was playing quite well. You know, I played in England from 2001, but never got selected. And it was a bit hard, you know, because it's a very proud moment to get into the, you know, to wear that Kiwi jersey. And as a athlete, you're always trying to get to the top. And so yeah, it was a bit disheartening, but you know, that was life. Hey.
So tell me about Bradford. How did that come about?
Well, I guess that was 2000, end of 2000. I think the Warriors at the time was going through some issues with the new ownership.
Yes.
I just signed a 4-year deal, just finished my first, built a house in Te Aratu, and had a newborn baby. And I'm thinking I'm in New Zealand for the next few years. You know, and there was a transition period with the new owners, and just didn't work out their way. We were playing the World Cup in the UK.
Yep.
I guess word got out that wasn't happening, and in the English clubs there was Wigan and Bradford were knocking on the door, but it was actually Robbie and Henry Paul. We were in camp and like, hey man, it's an awesome club, we're here, blah blah blah, and for me signing for another NRL club at the time, because there was a couple of NRL clubs, it wasn't me. I never could see myself running against my family and running against my team, so it just made sense for me to sign over there. And I guess it was a blessing in disguise. Had some great years, great friends, seen the other side of the world. Come home with went over with 2 kids, come back with two extra Yorkshire-born kids. So,
well, 220 games for Bradford, 2 Challenge Cups, so it must have worked out very, very well.
Yeah, no, we had a pretty successful stint. 8 seasons I played there. I think it was 5 Super League finals, won 3.
World Cup Challenge?
Yeah, 3
Newcastle,
World Cup challenges.
Penrith,
So just some great memories, some great players. Likes of Henry and Robbie Paul. Some great players from the English, Great Britain teams, and even played with a young up and coming Sam Burgess.
Yes.
He was our baby of a forge, and I kept saying he used to come and watch cartoons with my kids because he was almost the same age, and wait for us till we go training, and all hop in the car and then carpool out to wherever we train. So, I don't regret it going over there. Looking back, we had an awesome time. Eight seasons.
Another special thing for you being named in the Bradford Team of the Century. That's pretty special.
I mean, you play this game because you love it, and then we got blessed to be able to get paid. And as a player, the first things you want to, I guess, get approval of is your teammates, and then also when the fans, your home fans, and you've experienced the English fans. They're quite vocal, passionate, and they don't hold back. So to have your fans, the home fans, vote you into your Team of the Century against some real great players of their Bradford history. It was an honour and a privilege to even be picked in the nominees, so to speak. So to be picked in the team, it was great.
Right. Tell me about some of those Bradford players, Joe, that you played with, and the coaching as well. Stand out for you?
Yeah, so the coaching, I only had 2 coaches in Bradford. The first one was Brian Noble, who had played, I think, about 1,000 games for Bradford in the past, and and he's coached us for my first 6 years there. Took us, and we had some successful times with, under Nobby. Great coach. Then we had, forgot his name. He's got a mind block.
He made a big influence.
No, he was. He was actually a really. He actually coached at the Warriors. It's going to come to me, but coach the Warriors was at Roosters. Come over here. He was assistant coach at the over here English, and then he went back to Catalan Dragons.
Of course, yeah. He was a great player.
McNamara, Steve McNamara.
There you go.
Yeah, so he took over. Obviously, when Nobby left, there was a we were winning finals, winning team, and there was a bit of a he couldn't quite match that sort of the results, and it was a bit tough times. But we grew as a coach and as players. So Bradford was a great time there, great place. My time at the Warriors, it was a family club. We had a lot of Kiwi. There was a few of us Kiwis. Tavita Vagana, who played junior Kiwis from Christchurch, he was there. Then later on, a couple of years later, we had the likes of Leslie Manakolo and Shantaine Hape come over. So there was always a great Kiwi connection there.
So what made you decide now's the time to go home?
I guess 15, 16 years playing. We had kids at that time. We had 4 kids. And my oldest, who was about to turn 13, I think we were looking at, back then it was Bebo. And it was like, who's that? And I go, oh, that's your auntie, that's my sister. Who's that? That's your cousin. I'm like, oh, okay. So my kids, they missed out on growing up with their family here. And there was, we thought, oh, okay, now's the time. Oldest is about to start high school. Rather than start them, they've, got to try and finish it, we'll bring him back here. And, so it just made sense. The body wasn't recovering as fast as it was. It was just the right time to bring him home, connect with their cultural side, their Samoan side, their Māori side, my wife being Māori, and just, having family around, yeah.
You've been involved with the game since you've been back. I think you've done a bit of coaching.
So when I first came back, Willie Swan, who was at the East Coast Bays,
Yes.
the Barracudas, he said, hey man, if you want an excuse to get out on a Tuesday and Thursday and a Saturday, come down and help me out, help him out there. So did 3 years there. First taste back into, New Zealand Rugby League. Obviously my boys were playing, so in Te Aratu, when the coaches needed another drill, a couple of us dads would step up and help out with drills. So with my boys playing, it was a no-brainer for me to stay in touch, but and always coming to the Warriors games, supporting the team that gave me the opportunities. Yeah.
Lots changed since the boy from Richmond ended up in Bradford. And you think about all those changes for the better. Changes as on the field. On the field. Yeah.
Oh man, I mean it's like anything. Over time things change, but I guess you always want to keep whatever club. They always want to keep the history and keep the traditions. And just paying respect to the guys that went before you, and knowing who's bled before in the jersey beforehand. All those sort of traditions is what a club, I feel, needs to uphold, and their values, and to move forward and to be a successful club.
So I'm going to ask you just to finish off, Joe. Wonderful, wonderful career. If you had to pick someone or some people that stood out for you, that's provided you with leadership and being your mentor, who would that be?
Jeez, well, that's a pretty tough question. But, in terms of Terry McGowan, who was a coach when I was a juniors growing up, he was a mentor back then. And then I guess from the junior Kiwi side to the Warriors reserves to coaching the Warriors to international level, Frank Endicott was always there. And we got a pretty good relationship. And then also there's the obvious, my parents and my family have been big influences on my career, and just being able to keep the feet firmly planted on the ground, despite the highs I was able to achieve as a rugby league player, always knowing, okay, you're back home now, you're Joe, you're not Joe the superstar, or not, in your own head, get back to earth and go do the dishes. Yeah. So it was that sort of upbringing that, the mentors and on the fields as players, I can't look past Quinton Ponga, he was, I spent a bit of time with the Kiwis with him, but also when he played at the Warriors, and again, I was still young, trying to learn my trade as a front rower, and that guy, I kept watching him at training and going, man, he actually trains the way he plays, and that's just 100%, and he used to have froth coming out of his mouth, and that was at our training sessions, and that was how passionate and how strong he's training, and in the games, so he didn't actually say much, didn't have to say much, he just led by actions. And as a young guy, I just look at a guy like Quinton, Q, and go, oh man, no, that's how you're supposed to, that's how you do it, so, but I guess they're the main guys who just stick out straight away.
Well, Joe, I think that's pretty well much a wrap. And thank you so much for sharing your memories with us, and thank you for everything you've done for the game and the memories you've provided with all us league people. Joe Vagana, thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity. You know, the game's done a lot for me, so it's only it was an honour to represent the black jersey, and also all the other clubs that I've put the jersey on. So thanks for having me.